Welcome to episode 5 of CirqueCast. As always, we're bringing the latest Cirque du Soleil news, so let's get started.
You're watching CirqueCast, the podcast for everything Cirque du Soleil, featuring artist interviews, Cirque headlines, and the inside scoop to your favorite shows. So buckle in, sit back, and enjoy CirqueCast.
45 Degrees has released a short video showcasing the making of Yule, the winter holiday extravaganza made exclusively for Cirque du Soleil Russia. Yule ran from December 31st, 2015 through January 10th, 2016 at the Barvika Luxury Village Concert Hall. To see the full video, head over to 45 Degrees' Vimeo page. And speaking of 45 Degrees, you might remember back in November of 2015, 45 Degrees teamed up with Lipton to create an advertising campaign called The Revolution in Tea for their TO homebrewer. Well, congratulations to the team that worked on the advertisement, as the campaign has won a silver award for Best Production Design at the Creative Circle Award in London. In a continued effort to nurture artistic expression and development within its employees, the Global Citizenship Service at Cirque du Soleil hosted its 11th annual art exhibition, The Collective, which featured artwork by the company's performers, technicians, and support staff in Las Vegas. The exhibition was presented exclusively at the Eden Gallery in downtown Las Vegas from May 14th through June 14th. The exhibition showcased 33 works in painting, photography, sculpture, video, short film, and mixed media, and it featured the Square Project from the Zarkana Theater, which was a collection of squares created by individual cast and crew members that, once brought together, represented the beauty, importance, and impact of working together. So congratulations to all the artists featured. And we previously talked about Lucia and the intention of this show to be the advertisement for Mexico's tourism. And of course, this privilege is not free. News have come out that the government of Mexico is shelling out a whopping $47.7 million over the next 5 years to fund Lucia. According to the Tourism Ministry, this show is a result of an agreement signed by the Tourism Board of Mexico with Cirque du Soleil to create a marketing platform that positions the image of Mexico in international markets. Now, the article does state that the show is expected to cover 450 cities around the world in the next 7 years, but that's not possible, right? So that must be a typo. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard anything from the fans in Mexico, but some seem to be a little upset with the investment because they state that it's a lot of money and that could be used for other things in Mexico, including education. And I believe I read somewhere that a whole bunch of Mexican artists, actors, wrote a letter to the director of tourism from Mexico, expressing their disapproval of the transaction or the investment because it's a lot of money.
It is a major investment.
Right. I mean, it's not $1 million. I mean, I don't know how much an advertisement campaign would cost, for tourism.
I think that's a lot coming from a place where they've already got a show. They got Lucia is a great show, and I see that the investment's going to help them with touring and whatnot and bringing tourism to Mexico. But how effective of an advertisement statement is that for Mexico's tourism business? Like, how many people is a Cirque du Soleil show going to bring to Mexico? You see what I'm saying? Like,
but
what is that gonna do for them?
Also, I'm pretty sure Mexico is the one who approached Cirque du Soleil to do this type of advertisement. It's not like Cirque du Soleil was forcing Mexico to invest.
I understand. I think that's bad on Mexico's behalf to try to, no offense to Cirque, I love Cirque du Soleil, of course. I wouldn't be doing this podcast with you guys or anything if I didn't. But I think that's a little weird of Mexico to invest that and expect some sort of return from that. When you invest money in something, you expect a return, and I don't know what kind of return they would get from Cirque.
Visibility.
Yeah, but
I mean, those types of things you can't really put, a price on. So they get exposure, they get that visibility, they get that goodwill from the people saying, "Hey, look at this! This is the culture of Mexico," and it's not, it's not hats and guitars. It really is something modern, and that is steeped in culture, not. So I don't know that it's a bad investment. It seems like it's a high investment. I mean, because those shows don't cost that much. I mean, they do cost a lot, but I mean, you can get some shows for $20 million. So it looks like they not only are investing in the show's overall operational costs, but may have even funded the entire creation costs. I mean, that's maybe. I mean, I'm not sure how much Lucia costs offhand, but
You would think they'd throw that into the Riviera Maya, and try to bring people to their show on their turf.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, but they already got Hoya, and then of course the theme park's going to be starting up. So I mean, they've got pretty good Cirque du Soleil intros coming in. I mean, so I don't know that they really need to invest with that, but it's good.
And then again, they are a sponsor of Cirque du Soleil, so Cirque is not just going to do this for free. So if they want that advertisement, they have to pay for it. Like Ricky said, I'm not sure how much Lucia was. I'm sure Cirque du Soleil could do it by themselves. They don't need the help from Mexico. But then again, all this is a sort of advertisement for Mexico that they chose to do. So, and actually, that letter wasn't sent to the tourism board. It was sent to the president of Mexico. So, yeah, there are some really upset people in regards to.
Because most of the stuff that you see from the Mexican fans is they are really enthusiastic about the show. I mean, they love it. Those who have seen it, and those who haven't, of course, they're really excited to see it. So to hear about a backlash that that the government of Mexico put in this amount of money, basically, which is just an tourism advertisement for their country to bring people in to say, hey, we're modern, we're exciting, come and see us, visit Mexico. I'm surprised that people are really kind of up in arms over that.
And I really haven't seen too much of people complaining. Like you said, I've been looking at hardcore Cirque fans all week, and everyone who's seen the show has loved it. Everyone is. I mean, we have a lot of Mexican community in hardcore Cirque fans who are very vocal about that they are so excited to see Lucia, and they're like, bring it to Mexico, But I can see why they might be upset on that. It's a lot of money.
But also the show, in my opinion, is a beautiful show. It's great. So again, I understand when people are upset. But that doesn't really represent the show, I guess. But so Richard and I did see the show this past month in Montreal. So our next episode will actually be our review of the show. We did get a backstage tour of Lucia, and we have an interview with 3 of the artists from Lucia. So that's all going to be on the next episode. And also, before I forget, for those who don't know, Lucia has actually been filmed already. It was filmed last week.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I know, I'm excited.
Do we know it was seriously for DVD?
Oh,
yes,
for DVD.
Yes, for DVD.
We're 100% positive because we were told that when we went to the backstage tour at Lucia.
It's crazy, but it's crazy good. I can't
And
wait.
so it was mentioned, and then I guess at the beginning of the week, the singer Majo Cornejo, she on her Instagram, Snapchat, she snapped a photo of when they were recording, and she did state that she was getting her makeup done for the recording of the DVD.
I saw something mentioned on Instagram, but I just don't know what to take serious anymore, From you guys, I'll take it serious, but, I mean, they're skipping over a lot of shows that deserve a DVD, but hey, whatever, let's get the ball rolling with DVDs. I love that.
And they're trying to get it out fast, so it may not be 3 months, it may be less than that, who knows, or how long does it take to produce DVDs, actually? I think I'm speaking for CDs.
Yeah,
I'm
not
not sure.
sure.
At least 4 or 5 months. I mean,
At least 4. I mean, it could be more depending on how they want to edit it. And I mean, of course, in the case of Amaluna, it took them a whole year to get it out, but I think it was ready within a couple of months. I don't think it takes that long. It's just the editing and then pressing it all.
I mean, they might do their usual thing of releasing it around Christmas time.
No, I don't think so. They were trying to get it out fast. because they're losing a lot of business in Canada and San Francisco. When you think about it, those cities don't get any of the DVDs. Sometimes even the CDs, but
I would say maybe by the time it reaches San Francisco, so the third stop, maybe if Toronto is lucky, they'll get it at the end or close to the end of their run. But I'd probably say San Francisco.
well,
Definitely be here by Denver. I know that for a fact.
It's going to be interesting because, we were told, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but we were told that the state of the show is still in flux. So there's a number of costume things that they're trying to work on and some pacing issues that they need to work on and some music issues that they need to work on, and I'm sure Jose and I will get into that next time. So to record it now, it seems a little silly. Wait until it's fixed, at least fixed more as it would be in Toronto, which is where they usually film. So for them to film in Montreal is a little kind of weird, especially if the show's going to continue to change.
and that doesn't mean that the show is in bad shape. It's just
No.
it's a brand new show, so changes happen all the time. With any other show. So yeah, recording it now means that you may get a different show, or an act may be different or out, or costumes may be different. So.
I mean, like Varkai, didn't they film that right after premiere too?
No, they filmed that in Toronto.
So how long after premiere was that? That wasn't long after premiere, right?
A few months. I mean,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I would say 5 months because, they did all of Montreal and then Quebec City and then they went to Toronto.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, with Lanuba, we didn't even get a DVD till, forever. So I'm just
A
happy
long
they're
time.
putting one out.
Well, I'm happy. I mean, because, the show was great when we saw it, so I'm happy they're doing it, because I'd love to have a Curios one and a Totem one and
man.
a Ovo one. But, so I'm happy they're doing it. I'm just question maybe they should still wait and do it in Toronto. But they're not, so
Do you know if they ever filmed Ovo under the big top?
I don't believe so.
I was
I hear Curios, they're doing it in a Nickelodeon. You put a little quarter in, you watch it. That's the whole show.
Viewmaster?
Take it.
Yeah, Viewmaster. Click.
I'll take it.
And then the Taruk one was filmed, but it's taking a little bit longer. Well, the thing with Taruk that the editing and all that has to be approved by James Cameron's company as well, production company, because it's a joint venture, so
Now-
they have to approve that as well.
Weren't they doing that in 3D, or is that just a rumor going around? I had heard that at some point they were
I
filming.
think that's a rumor you just made up.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that at all.
Maybe I was just hoping for it.
But see, that's another interesting point because they filmed Taruk now really early, and now they're changing it and they're putting a bunch of acrobatic acts in. So the show's going to be, I mean, I'm guessing quite a bit different. I'm not sure, but still a whole lot different now than what it's going to be on DVD once they finally get that out.
And also, Taruk
Fingers
is heading
crossed.
over to China after this year, so a lot of the rest of the U.S. market, I'm not sure how many cities they're actually hitting, or the European market is not really going to get to experience the show.
I'll take multiple DVDs. I'll take the early days, and then a few years later, bring it.
Well, that would be nice. I'd love
That
it.
would, but that's a dreamland.
Just like Lanuba, they need to refilm that. They should have filmed it early on. I mean, the DVD's okay. It could have been like some of the more original cast, and then of course now with all the changes, especially if it closes sometime soon, it would be nice if we got a new one.
Can we?
Hint.
Hint. Segue.
I don't like that. That makes me really sad.
Sorry.
Well, at least they got the popcorn shenanigans fixed. For those of you who missed that, the popcorn machine caught fire for a day, and one of the performers was letting me know that that they had flooded the lobbies, the offices were flooded, and the whole out front, there was pictures of puddles out front and whatnot. And we were told that they didn't know if they were going to open the second day or not. And Ricky, you can say what you were going to say about that.
What
Wasn't
was I
that
going to
first
say
night
about that?
back?
You said something like, we were chatting, and you said something like, Yeah, they should just close it now if they're.
Oh.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
I
if they're
was
just
kinda
going to
like,
close it in another year or so anyway, might as well just do it now. Go ahead and rip it all out since it's all flooded, and go ahead and put something new in.
Now, you bring up an interesting point. Now, when I was talking to some of the performers, though, back when Dario was in town, and a little bit later than that, when I was hanging out with them, they were saying stuff like, because Disney doesn't really have a direct plan for what's going on after Lanuba, they kind of been told that they're just hanging in there right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem that they have a direct plan. Disney hasn't announced anything. They kind of haven't been plotting anything. I mean, that's a big venue to be putting something there.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the whole Hyperion Wharf thing, it was supposed to change when that was announced, and then they kind of backtracked on that, and now they have the whole Disney Springs thing going on.
Well,
So once they get over that, maybe they can focus.
well, let me tell you about Disney Springs, because I was just there the other day, and they opened the new section of it. Now, the new section looks like almost like an Epcot, Italy area, and they put in like all these little shops and these perfect areas for street performers. They got statues and stuff like that, and it's almost like Disney's putting a shopping mall there, like an outlet mall, to keep people from going to the outlet malls. And I think
Right.
that's exactly what's going on. But they're all high-end stores and stuff, and the rest of Disney Springs doesn't seem to fit in with that, which is kind of weird. Like, it's just like, here's Disney, and then here's high-end shopping center area, which just does not fit in this world here. So I'm wondering if they're going to facelift the rest of Disney Springs and kind of make it all similar to that, which would be kind of weird. But it would leave opportunity for a new style of Cirque show to go in there. It's kind of it's very street performer-esque. It's very Montreal streets.
Hmm.
So
Well, yeah, to answer what you said, yeah, they're making a kind of an outlet mall situation, so guests to Disney property, don't leave for the Florida Mall, don't leave for Mall at Millennia, don't leave for the outlet malls there on International Drive, and certainly don't go down to Universal Studios and City Walk.
Yep.
So that's all for that. I've not seen any of it yet, so I'm kind of jealous, but yeah, so it's all for the malls.
Half of it's not open yet, I will say. Like, half of it is facade storefronts right now. But they've got things like Pandora, Sprinkles, all sorts of things.
Say goodbye to Lanuba.
Yeah, say
I'm
goodbye
okay
to
with
Lanuba.
So
Hey,
do you guys
guess
know
what?
something we don't know?
I'm
Because
okay
you
with
guys
it.
kind of seem to have like a. Were you guys told something that we don't know?
Well, Richard has been talking about this rumor for a while, even on, I think you spoke about it on Fascination, or you might have mentioned it
Yeah,
a while
a
back.
few months ago. I mean, it's been a rumor. I mean, and as I said in Fascination a few months ago, it's been talked about since Disney announced the Hyperion Wharf stuff, and I forget exactly what date that was, 2004, 2005, something like that. And then it just kind of went by the wayside as Disney didn't know what to do with the Hyperion Wharf crap, and then Disney Springs came up, within the last 2-3 years or so, or however long that's been. And then, of course, every so often, the rumors pop up. Oh, Lanuba's getting old. We're going to go ahead and replace it, or there's plans to replace it. This might be what happens. Nothing concrete, because nothing ever gets released. And I mean, if it's Disney, it may even start happening, and they won't even release any kind of press information for a year, after they start working on it.
They tried hiding World of Coke so badly. It was hilarious because it was a giant red building with the white swervy line like a Coke can, and they're like, "Oh no, this isn't World of Coke coming in here." And they hid it so well. So I really do wonder if they have plans for the Lanuba tent. But from what the performers have been telling me, they plan on probably just sticking around until Disney comes up with something. Like they sound like they were saying like their thought is Cirque is going to attempt to just kind of extend until Disney does have a plan for them.
And I mean, they might as well. It's not like they have to put too much money into the show. I mean, all the creation costs I'm sure have been covered. It's just operational stuff now, and they get good artists come in, and they did change up the show, so they got some new blood in there.
Yeah.
Let's hope, but whatever they decide to do with it is a good replacement. I mean, one of the rumors I did hear was that Disney wanted something more Disney. And I don't know how you can get any more Disney than Once Upon a Time, but yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen eventually, and it could be sooner than later. I mean, who knows?
Now, Dario, I'm curious because you said that you don't have a problem with that, but you really loved La Nuba.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show, you know? It's as old as my little sister who is like, you know, drives a car and has a job and pays bills. It's just
Yeah.
like
But
there should always be an expiration date before it burns out, you know?
Do you say that about love?
No, because yes, I do, but we have quite a few years before that one, in my eyes, burns out.
wait, hold on. So you just saw the show for the first time this year. So you think the show is dated? Like it feels dated?
What, Lanuba?
Yes.
100%. Even with the B boys, you know, because it's not really relevant. It's like my number 3 favorite show. The only problem is I love the new approach Cirque is taking with shows. You know, a little bit more fun, little less what the hell's going on. So yeah, I saw it. I had a great time. I got to go all around the theater. I'm okay with it being gone. Give
So
us
what you're
something
saying
new.
is you're done with Dragon shows.
No. Well, yes and no, because there's a time and place for everything, and I love to go back and reminisce of what Cirque was. I just love where Cirque's going. You know, I really do. It's batshit crazy, and I'm all about that.
I don't know if I'm ready to leave Dragon shows. Like, I feel like, you know, with Mystère and O, those are such solid shows. I mean, Mystère
How many are
especially.
left? 3?
3,
Yeah.
right? 3.
Mystère, O, La Nuba.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well, I
mean,
don't think O's going anywhere for a while.
Hope not.
I hope
Mystère is a beautiful show. Who knows? It might be at the end of its road too. I just doubt it.
not.
And
Seriously
Mystère
doubt
is
it.
older than Lanuba. I mean, Mystère,
Yeah.
you know, debuted
Yeah.
in '93, so
But
Yeah.
if you feel that La Nuba is dated, then you should really feel that Mystère is extremely dated.
I don't know. I don't think so because it doesn't have BMX bikes and roller skates, or not roller skates, skateboards, and it doesn't. I mean,
Lanuba
I don't know.
Lanuba's
It's a
kind of
90s show, man.
Yeah, Lanuba's a decade piece if you think about it. Their sense of what urban is almost time stamped.
And then Mystère is just freaking timeless. Classic.
Urban now is like 2 hipsters in a coffee shop, which I wouldn't want to see in a Cirque show.
Don't give him any ideas, damn it.
well, wait for Lilia. No, just kidding. There was an article that was posted, on the 26th of May after the premiere, and some of the reviews, I mean, they're really scathing. I mean, here's one here from the New York Times that says, "Welcome to Paramour, as I like to call it, ADHD the musical." I mean, that's not good.
Which, by the way, was a brilliant musical, and I don't know why they're knocking on that one.
Yeah, I also saw one from the was it Globe and Mail, and they said Paramour on Broadway, a high-wire Cirque du Soleil stumble. And they start with Cirque du Soleil's Paramour is crashing and burning on Broadway, and there's no point in calling the paramedics.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave it 1 star.
Broadway's a
But-
tough nut to crack, man. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter what name you have behind you. That's
Yeah,
a
they're
tough nut.
really specific. They're really, yeah, as you said, they're a tough nut to crack, and I didn't expect there to be any positive reviews. I mean, I've seen maybe 1 or 2, non-critical reviews, not big newspaper critics, and they found the production to be really good. My friend Doug, he went to see it, and he said, well, it's about 70% there. There's still some things they needed to tweak, and of course, since then they have tweaked. And some of the teaser videos that we've seen come out since then makes the show look really, really good. Well, of course, that's the point. But I want to go and see it. Of course, I want to make up my own mind, and hopefully we'll get that chance. I mean, if you look at the grosses, I mean, they're grossing quite a bit. You know, and yes, it's really early, but you know, you're looking at over $1 million per week in grosses, so they're doing okay. And I'll be interesting to see, or I will be interested to see what this Monday's figures will come out, and then of course, you know, I'll keep track of it as each week goes by, just to see, you know, how they're going to be doing. But so far, I mean, they're doing pretty well.
And they want to keep it in New York. However, if the show doesn't do that great, there's always the possibility of having tour like all the other Broadway productions. Why that phrase, Dario?
I don't know. I don't know. That's me. You said it. I heard it. That's what happened. I can't explain it.
But it seems like a lot of the complaints, it's not necessarily with the acrobatics. I think people actually like the acrobatics, but it has to do with the music, the dialogue, and the lyrics of which is
Broadway
show.
Yeah, that's exactly what makes a Broadway show, and I think
you have to go in strong with those three elements first, and then you put what you are into it.
It's your
I don't know how they approached it.
A lot of the reviewers talk about, you know, that you don't have a Broadway show writer or director, and even a composer.
Who did the book, the lyrics?
Andrew Lloyd Webber. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you dare. Was he on Broadway? That's my question. Did they do Broadway before, or is this their first also?
It was by Andreas Carrison. So Bob and Bill did the arranging, like they composed the music.
Are you kidding me? Bob and Bill?
No.
Like a whole or a half or a piece?
The music for the show, right?
All the way around.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I know I'm lost for words. I really am, because I love their music, but boy, is it their music.
Well, that's the thing, that this is what some of the reviewers are complaining about, that, you know, you don't have someone who's experienced in Broadway doing the music, which is a huge factor.
No.
Especially for a Broadway musical. I mean, these guys are notorious for making these like surreal-sounding, electronic-based rock and roll soundtracks for Cirque shows, and that's, I mean, name a Broadway show, well, other than Kinky Boots or something like that, that uses like techno or electronic sounds like that. I mean, there are some. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, one of them is closing tonight.
But you know, which one is that?
American Psycho.
Yeah, they're closing that.
Lasted like 3 months.
And once again, Duncan Sheik actually had a successful run with Spring Awakening, so I mean, his music even works. But even so, you know, I think why Spring Awakening worked with that kind of style of music was because of it had a really good Broadway writing behind it. The storyline was great, and with Paramour, we might have that kind of music. And I haven't even heard the music for Paramour except for what we've heard in the previews, but from what I've heard is the lyrics are kind of and the story is very unclear by the. I mean, they tell us the story in the description, but it's very unclear by what we're seeing in the commercials for it. They're throwing us the acts versus the story. And if you watch any other Broadway ad, they're going to show you the storyline, the big musical numbers. And if you're looking at Paramour, all I see is guys flipping on teeter boards, some drones flying around, which, by the way, looks really cool. I'm really excited to see that live. I think I might go see them in July. I might go see Paramour in July. It's up in the air right now, but I'm hoping to, and I'm really excited to see that act.
Which the drones look pretty much the same from Spark, the video that we talked about previously from C-Lab. And by the way, if you like the music or not, regardless, the show music, the soundtrack is being recorded this month, I believe, actually this coming week.
Criss Angel made his show disappear. Thank you. How am I for segues, folks? Criss Angel made his second installation go away and turned it into his third one, called Mindfreak Live, which is going to be interesting. He's done a lot of interviews lately. So like I said, this is his third installation, and he seems to be really, really into these 3D visual effects. It looks like we're going to see some Laser Man effects, a couple magic tricks inspired by... there's a few magicians out there that do laser routines, and I believe they're going to be working with Criss on that. A lot of those include like bending lasers and playing with the lights as if they are a physical form. So that's going to be really cool to see. There's going to be over 50 illusions. And he was also saying that he hopes that people who are misguided by the first one would say you should have done that in the first place. And I agree. I'm actually kind of excited to see this show, which is kind of weird coming from me. But one thing that really did piss me off about these interviews, I know you guys read those interviews, one thing that really pissed me off is someone, he was asked, is it safe to say that there's no other magician who can do this? He said, no question about it. And I think that's a lie, because I'm kind of partial. Xavier Mortimer from Michael Jackson 1, I'm going to bring him up because he's one of my favorites now. He's opening a show at Planet Hollywood, and they're bragging that that's going to be the big Vegas Cirque du Soleil magic show. Even though he's not anything to do with Cirque nowadays, the reports I've been hearing about this new show is kind of like saying, oh, move out of the way, Believe. Move out of the way, Mindfreak Live. Welcome in this new Cirque performer who's got his first Vegas show. So it'll be interesting to see the war between those two, advertising-wise.
But wasn't Believe the highest-grossing magic show on this in Las Vegas? Or is that just PR?
I don't know. I know that I can't answer that for sure. I'm not really sure on how they compare to the other ones. I mean, they've got names like David Copperfield, Penn and Teller out there. I mean, Penn and Teller are huge. People flying from all over the world to see Penn and Teller. You got greats like David Copperfield. No one's going to forget that name.
And he's been there for a really long time.
Yeah, I don't know if
he doesn't have performances every day. I think he goes on little breaks.
Yeah, I don't think he has a residency. I think he pops in and out of Vegas. But there's also shows like that have been there for years, like the Mac King show, like the big. I know people magicians all over tell any magician to go see the Mac King show. Like if you're going to see a Vegas show, especially me being a magician, I hear magicians saying what shows to go see. And not once has anyone mentioned Believe or Criss Angel's show. It's always like, oh, you got to go see Mac King, you got to see Penn and Teller, and you got to go see, they have Twisted Vegas, which was a great show out there. There's a ton of great magic shows out in Vegas, and I've never, not once, heard anyone recommend Believe or Mindfreak Live. I just don't think that's what it's seen as. I think people go to see it as a Cirque show. It'll be interesting. I'm really excited to hear... because he mentioned in his interview this levitation where the audience feels like they're floating with him, and they're using a lot of projection mapping in this. He's explaining
immersion.
Yeah, and you're floating the audience with you, which would be really cool. I mean, Universal does that already with a lot of their shows at Universal Studios, so it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of create that fully submerging the audience into this show. I don't know how submerged I want to be in Criss Angel's brain, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes with this.
Well, it does sound like they're making upgrades to the actual theater. In fact, the opening or the previews that was scheduled for what was that date? May.
I know they were saying the grand reopening is June 30th. In one of the interviews.
Right, but the previews actually started a little bit late because they had to postpone it. There were concerns over the safety that were prompted by the fire department and the Cirque du Soleil executives. So they delayed. I believe it was like second week of May, and they didn't have a date at that time because they were also trying to get the insurance coverage and all that in place before they could actually start the previews. So,
Yeah.
so
It was
whatever.
like May 10th, I think, around. That was when the Mindfreak Live delayed post, at least on Fascination, it said Mindfreak Live delayed, and that article came out on May 10th, so around that time.
So yeah, again, I'm not a Criss Angel fan, but based on what I'm reading, I wouldn't mind seeing it just to see. It's supposed to be a completely different show from Believe, and one of his he did mention that Believe was basically said Believe was not about him, and that's what fans wanted, and so Mindfreak Live is pretty much all about him.
How can it? Wait a minute, because what I heard is Believe was all about him. It's like he even stops the show halfway through to tell you about his childhood or sell you something or.
But it wasn't at first.
At first, we're talking for like the first 2 years out of 7, And what I'm seeing,
read that the soundtrack is completely different now. It's a brand new soundtrack.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing, this Mindfreak Live looks more Cirque than Believe did.
But I think it's because he had a little bit more control, or a lot more control over it than.
That makes no sense.
I mean, Cirque gave him creative license, which basically means that he can direct, he can change things that he needs to do. So it'll be interesting. I think basically what he was saying with that is that Cirque fans didn't want him to be in the Cirque business. His fans didn't want him to be with Cirque. So they just mutually shook hands and said, "Here you go, Criss. Here's your show."
Okay. Well, we'll see. Cop out.
I mean, I will say his New York show was great. Which had Eugene Brim in it. That was a great show.
How long ago was that show? How hungry was he back then? That isn't the same Criss that we have today. You're a lovely audience. Totally different Criss. You watch the early Halloween special, and you watch like the 7 Lives of Criss Angel. 2 completely different people.
Yeah, his Supernatural
one I like,
show.
One I don't.
Well, but also one of them had a major network TV channel behind him, and the other one was some New York guy doing a show. It'll be interesting how much creative, and I don't know if this TV network is involved at all, if A&E or Mindfreak. I mean, I know Mindfreak is a brand, so he has created the brand through this TV network, but I wonder how much of that brand is going to stay the same, or if he's going to bring it back to what he wanted at the original state of Mindfreak, which was what he was doing in New York, because now this could be his step away from that. And originally Cirque might have been trying to push, hey, Mindfreak brand, Cirque du Soleil, Big Mess, Hurricane, which is what everyone agreed that it was. Even Criss agreed that the first 2 versions of it. I mean, he said people were saying, isn't this buying you time? Regardless of what it is, I mean, it sounds like he's doing what he wants to do. I mean, he is saying he had been planning this levitation for like 9 or 19 years or something like that, and if that's how long he's been planning this levitation, I mean, you would think this is kind of going back to what he was planning originally.
But Ian, he had creative control over I would say the last 2 different versions. I mean, there have been at least 4 that I've counted, that it has been kind of updated or refreshed. And I would like to say within the last 2 that he has had more creative control over it. So if you want to say, okay, well, the last version of it wasn't so good, and now here's my chance to really break out, well, you know what? You had creative control. Maybe you got more of it now, and that certainly seems to be the case, but you had that creative control before. So what's different now?
Yeah, and I think it was a teacher of mine that once said, "Not my circus." So, and I think that's how it's going to go, is like if Criss bombs his own show, Cirque has been smart and given him the reins. I don't know what kind of, if this show fails, I don't know what kind of heat that's going to put on Cirque, if any. Even
I doubt any, because
Yeah.
it sounds like they're just doing, backroom type stuff.
Or maybe
Yeah.
this is his way of saying, you know what, because Believe now has a reputation. You know, it's that show that used to be a Cirque show that didn't work out, that, was refreshed and completely taken all these Cirque elements out, and now you have more of a Criss Angel show, but it's not really a Criss Angel show because it wasn't directed by him. So maybe this is his way of kind of separating all that from, his show, because he does state this is not Believe, this is not a refresh, this is a completely new show that, it usually takes 2 years to complete, but I've done it in 3 weeks, so maybe that's the intention behind this new show.
I'm sure Criss can make a show in however much time he's allotted himself to do this, but I'm excited to see it just because of what he described already. I mean, it sounds like there's going to be some really cool elements, and if anything, it's just going to be a cool magic show. And I don't want to expect anything more than a cool show, a cool magic show. I'm not going to go in expecting like Cirque du Soleil. I'm not going to go in expecting awesome orchestral arrangements. I'm going to go in just expecting a magic show, and I think that's what I'm going to try to expect from Criss from this show. And if it's more than that, hey, let it surprise me and excite me there.
When Zarkana and Believe closed, you said you were kind of okay because you thought the market was a little saturated.
I am okay with it. It's just one good one, one bad one. Ours, Ricky so nicely puts it, 2 bad ones gone. Just get rid of the crap. I'm happy with it. I like it. 5, 6, these are good numbers. 7, 8, I don't know. It's a lot.
Well, they may not be in Vegas, but it looks like Cirque du Soleil is expecting a huge growth within the next 5 years. Did you guys read about this? They're expecting to go from 18 shows to 25, at least 25.
I'm okay with that. One thing I'm not okay with, the whole word clone. That doesn't sit well with me in any way, shape, or form. It's disrespectful in my eyes.
So what Dario's talking about is that Cirque is considering cloning some of its shows. For example, Michael Jackson 1, The Beatles' Love, They think that these shows could be produced in other markets.
Just a carbon copy. Just take it and set. No, that's not cool. That's taking everything Cirque is and just pissing.
But does it matter if they're they're looking to expand in China, London, Dubai, possibly Mexico, and Hawaii.
Create for those markets. Create for those markets.
But are those shows that you are necessarily going to see? Would you travel just to go see a show? I mean, some of us do.
Do you not know me? Yeah, I will. There's only one place where I could travel right now to see a permanent show, and that's 4 or 5 hour flight from my house, dude. Of course I want to go. Okay, 2. I'm sorry. One out of the States. I meant to say out of the States.
Oh, okay.
There's only one.
No thanks. Not right now.
Okay. I'm down, and I want to see it. I'm just saying, okay? Do not take something that these people created. These people, there's a lot of the original actors are still there, and then just take what they do and have some, here you go. I don't like that. I get Cirque maybe tapping, into something they think's a good idea. And it might be very good money-wise, but it just doesn't feel right. Does it feel right?
No, because, you get all the creative stuff, all the creative costs are out of the way. They've already designed the show, they've already remixed the music, all that jazz. But yeah, Love is special because it's Beatles, and it's there in Vegas, and you can only see it there. Mystere is special because of that same reason. O is special for that same reason. Ka, and, all the rest. Lanuba is special because you can only see it in Orlando.
But wouldn't you think Love would do better in London?
Well, that's what Daniel Lamar is thinking. That's what they want to take it.
Yeah,
because
that would make sense.
not that many people really go to London per se for a vacation. You know, a lot of people go
Oh,
to
yes, they
Vegas.
do.
And
Yes,
Well,
you
they
I
do.
mean,
have
they
Broadway
do, but
shows there.
Yeah.
well, they have London shows. You know, I'm
Yeah,
just
you've
saying.
got the
I
West.
don't
Yeah,
know.
but see, Dario, you've got things like Les Mis, you've got Cats, you've got Phantom. Rent was, they've got the whole West End, so it's basically like
Yeah.
Broadway, only in London. So I can see where they would want to try and do something like that. I just don't know that. I mean, Love would be obvious because it's the Beatles and London, and I get it. I just don't know that it would be
As
a
special.
good decision. Yeah, it wouldn't make it special anymore.
Well, we saw
Nah.
what London did to Amaluna, so.
Really, dude? Really?
Well, it sounds like the problem is figuring out where to put it, because there's no space in London. So if you don't have the space, you're not going to be able to put a show in. And obviously, location is a huge factor as well.
Well, and then that theater, I mean, the show, if we're talking about Love specifically, I mean, it was semi-designed around, the show, so you're not going to be able to go into these theaters in London and just dig out the basement because you want to put in these lifts. I mean, that's just not going to fly.
360 theater.
But you have to build a new theater for that.
Right. You'd have to redesign all the soundscape and the lighting, to fit that new theater. And I'm sure they could, do some computer stuff and it would be okay. But
at the same time,
be the
if
same.
you remove the stage, you do have to remove. I mean, it'll feel like a completely different show, because part of the Love experience is that immersion of you in the theater in the round of 360. So.
And it could work. I mean, I've seen, I'm a big Lion King fan, so I've seen Lion King on Broadway, I've seen it on tour, I've seen it in Tokyo, I've seen it in London. And yeah, it's all similar, but it is very different as well. So it is possible maybe Love would work there. I mean, I don't know. I would just hate for them to clone something. I would rather them maybe resurrect something.
Bingo!
Like like MJ1 and MJ's Immortal kind of thing, except better. But
leave the dancing glove at home. But yeah, something like that. Maybe resurrect the Kidam or Assault and Banco or Zed, for Christ's sake.
But I doubt this will happen because Daniel Amaro was saying he's optimistic about porting Love over to London, but they're also considering Paramour and possibly a dinner theater.
Right. So the whole
dinner theater where?
In London, a dinner theater show like Hoya in London.
I like that. That I like.
What if it was Hoya?
A little bit more classy, I like, dude. You can't say anything bad about that show to me. I love the music, and I can't wait to see it.
What I'm saying is, basically, since you haven't seen the show, would you be okay if it was a clone of Hoya in London?
No, because you couldn't do that. Why the hell do English people give a... Anyway. No, you couldn't do that.
So you're saying Lucia won't be successful there?
I mean, it will run there. Success, I don't know. These aren't my numbers, and these aren't my expertise. I just know doesn't feel right.
And considering that Hoya was made for the Mexican market, I wouldn't see that they could just pick it up and transplant it. I mean, I could see them doing something similar for the Hawaiian Islands. You can just change the theme up a little bit. I don't know what you would do for London, but
it goes from Hoya to hula.
Oh my God, that's so good, dude. It took me a second. I was like,
Apparently they got the send in the clowns. It's not send in the clowns. It's send in the clones, and Cirque heard it wrong or something. I don't know.
Right.
I just don't like it.
But and according to 45 Degrees, they've gotten many requests to create something like Hoya. They like that project, the dinner type show. So it looks supposedly there are discussions about bringing Hoya type shows. We mentioned London. There's one about Brazil, the Hawaii one, and then some other locations.
At least two in China, I heard.
Oh yeah, that's right, in China. So it looks like we're going to possibly see a lot more 45 Degrees productions. Those are smaller productions, and so 45 Degrees, they basically I guess most of the financials are taken care of by the requester, whoever requests the show from 45 Degrees. And so they have to have a minimum budget of 350,000, I believe. So it has to make
Yeah, I think
sense.
that's what.
And it looks like they receive about 1,500 requests a year, and they only accept 10%. But this is talking about all special events, not just the dinner type shows. You do have the private events. You have the Andorra show, Scalada. That's a 45 degrees event. So I guess this is expanding the Cirque du Soleil name with smaller shows. I don't know how I feel about that, having a lot of these smaller productions. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a 45 degree show, so I don't know if the quality is there. Because obviously it's going to take less time to create these shows as opposed to, a big top show, which, it's a 1 year or 2 year production.
But it's also less for the audience member to participate in. It's not 2 hours with an intermission. It's a nice, fancy dinner and a quick show. Like it feels so good to me. I love that idea.
I would almost love if they did, because if they did that with like Zumanity, made a dinner Zumanity show, like a short version of that. I think that would go brilliant with dinner. It's sexy. It's amazing. Like I think that would be the style they should take to London too. I think Zumanity would do better in London.
How confirmed is this? I'm not sure, but I guess pretty much because they're scheduled to open a resident show in New Jersey by early 2018.
Who does that? Who
That came out of nowhere.
In New
Right.
Jersey?
Yeah.
And it's going to be, the theme is going to be fashion, and
Have they been to New Jersey?
Which
Jersey is
Venom?
But it's going to be in a new theater, like a built-in shopping entertainment center.
Okay.
That's what it's going to be. So
Featuring the music of Bruce Springsteen, like
And starring the situation.
You laugh, but you know what?
What? School me, son. School
Oh,
me.
no. I was just going to say, we may say this in jest, but, you never know. All of a sudden, music by Bruce Springsteen, and then you've got the situation coming in.
and then Cirque, like, they hear our podcast and go, oh, shit. Change it. They don't like it.
Look, I lived in Jersey for a year. It's a great place to go die, okay? There's nothing that's going to live, okay?
we joke at the
Jersey.
announcement, but I remember when I heard about Lucia, I'm like, why? Why a show about Mexico? You already have Hoya, you have the theme park.
I understand why they did that one, though. And you guys talked about it at the beginning of the show. Once you said they gave them money, that's why.
I know, but what I'm saying,
Bottom line.
as far as the actual show, when I first heard about this idea, the theme of the show, I hated it. I hated it completely. I didn't think they needed to be another Mexico-inspired show, because at that time they were pushing Hoya as kind of like it had sort of a Mexican history with the butterflies and all that. But after seeing Lucia, I mean, I was blown away.
I just
not like Ricky at Curios, but to me, Lucia was, great, an amazing show. And again, we'll get into that.
It looks very minimalistic. That's what I think I'm gonna like about the show.
Well, if we get a show in Jersey, like I imagine it, we just get like some Italian greasers on the stage, like, "Hey, you like the circus act? We got a tightrope, and you like pizza." Like, I feel like that's gonna be our Jersey show if it's Jersey themed. Now, it might not even be Jersey themed. It might just be a show.
I know, but Jersey fashion, they don't make sense to me. Like
Fashion
New York
doesn't
fashion,
make sense.
sure.
Yeah.
Even
So-
Philly fashion, sure. But New
Venom and
Maybe
Leather
this is
Jersey,
going to be. Maybe this is going to be one of those 45 degrees things.
okay.
Yeah.
Now it's okay, because now you're talking smaller, quicker, easier, less. I'm all right with stuff like that, but I just can't see a big Cirque thing that has to do with New Jersey and fashion.
Yeah, unlike the one that looks like they're going to do in Russia. Did you see that theater rendering?
No. Nuh-uh.
No,
I would
Oh,
love
man.
to.
I can't wait to see it.
Which basically means that Cirque is looking to expand in Russia as well,
Yeah,
or Cirque du Soleil Russia.
I mean,
They have a new entity.
with Far Kai up there, I mean,
Circus and Russia, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. Hello.
well,
Makes
with
sense
Far
to me. A
Kai,
lot of their artists are coming from that country. You just send them to the show.
But it looks like the theater that they're building is it's going to be not just for Cirque shows. It looks like it could be used for other shows or concerts, I believe.
Right, that's what they said in the announcement. I mean, it looked like it was going to be designed for Cirque, but then it would be used for other things. Kind of like the Mystere Theater is used for, comics that come in and special events when Mystere's not on. So,
Do you remember how much the theater was? It was like a lot of money.
yeah, if you give me a second, I'll look it up.
Sure.
in Russian, that equates to $5, but
$50 million theater, opening in 2019 in Moscow.
All these shows, future projects that they have in mind, we won't really see anything until 2018, except for Cirque 2017, which is currently in creation in Montreal. We didn't get to see anything from Cirque 2017. It looks like
did you see the casting call for that? They had a casting call that was just recently released.
No.
They were
explain.
looking for a tall dancer, I think it was contemporary dancer, for Cirque 2017, and they were looking for a person that looked older, so they're looking for like ages 25 to like 40 something. So that's all I've seen really come out about that. But they just posted that casting call, and it was like, the production's not till later, but they actually released a video on the Cirque casting page for it, with an interview with one of the casting directors saying, like, it's not till for another while, but we're looking now for this. So it'll be interesting. Can't wait.
Well, the theme for Cirque 2017 is going to be extreme sports.
I was gonna say, wait for it.
Wait. Are you punking me?
No.
Wait a minute. You mean like extreme sports, like cliff jumping and bungee, like riding bikes on little mountains? I mean, extreme sports.
You mean BMX and breakdancing and trampoline?
What the hell is an extreme sport? Please enlighten me.
I would imagine similar to like X Games or something like that.
X Games, yeah.
So,
Wow.
Well, apparently
I
it was
don't mind-
supposed to be. Apparently, it was supposed to be the theme of an arena-based show that was supposed to. I think it was supposed to debut either this year or next year, and then they decided to kind of hold off on that, or either it wasn't working, or they said, "Hey, this is pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and launch it in a big top." So, Extreme
So
Sports.
the same directors from the Pan American Games, right? The opening.
Yeah, I believe so.
see, there we have it. They're trying to tap into yet another different audience, because if you look at that, that's a whole other audience of people. You're going to get all the skateboarders, all the extreme sports fanatics. I mean, that's a whole market. Imagine Cirque opens a skate shop. That's probably what we're going to see next.
Oh, yeah, market to a bunch of freaking kids who zip around on pieces of wood and go, look at me. No. There's certain places. We want to market to people that have money and jobs.
Exactly.
No, I like the idea because it's so unique, but, I mean, once again, it just feels like it's...
So unique 10 years ago, though.
Yeah, Acronet could be an extreme sport if you want to, really get down to brass tacks. It's extreme.
But on the good news, I heard the government of Red Bull is donating $47 million to this new show.
You know what? They can afford it. All right, Red Bull can afford that. Mexico,
Cirque du Soleil, sponsored by X Games.
I just don't know, man.
Well, you
That's a
don't
lot
find
of
that
money.
interesting, though? I think that's cool.
I don't think of Mexico and wealth. I think of Mexico and like, hey, we're doing okay.
You
We're
don't think
still
of Mexico. You don't think of Mexico in wealth in terms of money.
No, not at all.
But
culture,
look at the
they're
actual,
rich.
culture, exactly, and I think
There's
that's what they were going
places that
for with
surround
Houston.
Mexico that make me think of money. But Mexico itself just makes me I have a.
I mean, Mexico's really trying. They got the Goddard Group doing the whole, the resort thing going on there. They're really pushing Cirque du Soleil, which is funny because
Well, that's really Grupo Vidanta who's really pushing Cirque du Soleil, and it's more of a business push for them. Lucia was strictly with the Mexican government. But, I'm actually curious to see if, Dario, once you see Lucia, if your perception of Mexico changes a bit, and if it wants to make you visit, not to go see Hoya or to visit the park, but just to visit the country itself.
To actually go there. That's a really good point.
If it works, the whole advertisement, marketing.
It's a good point, but from what I've seen marketing-wise, I mean, they're not telling me anything I didn't already know. I mean, unless the story gets pretty deep, I mean, I'm just seeing, like, images that, well, yeah, that's Mexico.
I mean, really, the advertising, I don't think, the advertising of the show isn't supposed to entice you to go to Mexico. I think the advertisement of the show is supposed to tell you to go to the show, whereas maybe the show, which you and I haven't experienced, is more to get you to go to Mexico and watch.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I think the advertisement is to direct you to the show, which is supposed to direct you to...
I thought you meant that the actual show was meant to make you want to go see the show.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean,
Inception.
You raise a good point, though, Jose. It really, when it comes down to it, it could. It very much could. Just in the same way that Love made me go, holy shit, the Beatles are amazing. I knew it was there, and I knew about it, I just didn't care.
Right.
Maybe this might wake me up and go, holy crap, that is... Because, we all know the stories. It's very romantic, and it's got great food, but like that's where it ends with my knowledge. So this show may blow me out of the water. It may impress the crap out of me and make me feel like there's more to offer. And I hope that's the case. Where as opposed to Joya, I just feel like, hey man, here's a fun little show that's set in this country with this theme. Enjoy. Joya feels a little bit more like not shoving it down your throat, but like, here it is. Look, flowers.
You mean
They're
Lucia?
everywhere. Yeah, Lucia. There's this.
You said Hoya.
I said with that show, it feels like they're not trying to shove it down your throat. It's just a fun show. But Lucia is the opposite. I feel a little more or less like, here's a soccer ball. Here's a luchador mask.
I think I would agree with you if I hadn't seen it already, and I would have agreed with that sentiment prior to seeing it. After seeing it, it's really not like that at all. I wouldn't say that it's in your face. It's more a take off the cultural themes rather than saying, here's Mexico.
Okay, interesting. Well, I mean, how would you scale it in the Cirque universe? I mean, I know it's a brand new show, but you've seen brand new shows.
As brand new show, and I mean, the first time I saw it, I mean, I looked at Jose and I went, And Jose was like, yeah, there could be some things. And by the second time, he was like, okay, I love this show. As I've come home and I've listened to the music and I've, kind of relived all the memories and the wonderful weekend or the week, I've come to really, really, really like this show. I didn't love it like I loved Curios out of the gate, but it's a great show, and I think it will only get better. There are some elements, like I alluded to earlier, that need to change. There's just a couple of, like, what the fuck moments, and there's some music choices where you go, really? That's all you could come up with? But other than that, it's a really good, solid show. And I think if I had taken the time to read certain elements, like in the pre-program book, they talk about the inspiration, things that they've got. So the flowers are explained. The horse is explained. The rain is explained. In a sense of this is where it came from, and this is why it's integrated into our show. And it's this imaginary world of Mexico, or this imaginary Mexico.
And there's an act in there, the hand balancing act. At first, I hated it. I didn't understand it. I was thinking it was a bit tacky. But the second time I saw it, I really, really enjoyed it. And it's one of those acts that I hope they don't take out, because I enjoyed the comedy in it, the music.
That's where he just builds his way up from side to side to side until he's like really high up on two.
Yeah, the one that someone said they created the act. And
I'm so looking forward to that, regardless if I've
That's a
seen
good
it
one.
before, which I have. It looks really cool, you know?
The guy makes that look really easy. I mean, you can see the muscles bulging, and but he'll just kind of hang off of it like nonchalantly, go, wink, wink, and it's like, yeah, he's playing with the audience, and
How
he really
high
makes it
does he
easy.
go?
Richard,
Well, he
can
goes
you
pretty
say that
high.
slower? Can you say that slower, Richard? Just what
The
you said.
wink?
What?
Slower again. He gets higher and higher, and there's muscles bulging and
Yes, muscles are bulging. It's okay.
slower.
No. So
Anyways,
anyway,
but we'll talk more about Lucia
Yeah.
again
I
on
can't
our
wait.
next episode, more in depth. But I will say one thing though. Now after seeing the show and hearing the music, I do think that the soundtrack does complement the show very well. I'm
What
not
do
sure
you
if you
like
feel the
better?
same way, Ricky. What do I like better?
live or album?
Certain tracks, I mean, Jose and I will probably differ, but like there are certain tracks that I like both, and then there are some where I go, wow, the live version is just so much better than what they put on the CD.
And
Thank God.
for example, Tiembla la Tierra, I love the CD the soundtrack version, but then you see it live, and
Yeah.
it's different, and it's amazing. The act is beautiful, the music is beautiful. That version. Cierra los Ojos on the soundtrack for me wasn't. I never really kind of got it, but seeing it live, I mean, that's one of my favorite moments in the show. It just works well, and there's a few things, like the artist singing prior to intermission, because that's when everyone comes out. I feel like they need a little bit more energy, but again,
Yeah.
we'll go into that later. Just wanted to mention that I think the soundtrack, now hearing it, is good. It complements the show very well.
Check this out. When we went to the very last show of Zarkana, we grabbed a couple extra bags. We're going to give a few away. One bag, one program. All you have to do is tell us in the comments below what was the premiere date and the very last performance of the show. Comment in the bottom, and we will give you a program and a bag, maybe even 2 bags.
And we'll pick you at random.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna pick them at random because no one's better than anyone else. Except for Zarkana. Zarkana was better than everyone. Attuntuento.
And with that, we are done for this episode.
You should tell them about where they can find information on the show, though, like our website.
CirqueCast.com. Also, if you do want to see all our previous episodes and just want to go directly through YouTube, it's youtube.com/CirqueCast Show. And we're also on Facebook on facebook.com/CirqueCast, Twitter at CirqueCast, and Instagram at CirqueCast. So, like we mentioned earlier, stay tuned for our next episode, episode 6, which will be all about Lucia. Richard and I got to see it in Montreal, and we'll bring you our reviews, a backstage tour, and interview with 3 of the artists. And also for episode 7, we'll be releasing the Alain Vignet interview, which is the Cirque du Soleil musical director. So a lot of cool stuff coming up, a lot of information. So yeah, stay tuned.
But they've got things like Pandora sprinkles, all sorts of things. And I'm going to pause for a second because we lost Dario.
Yep. I mean, you messaged him.
Bram!